Happy weekend, everyone, and welcome to the 5th developer message for the game Let's Live. I am your developer, Alex. Today, I'm going to be talking to you guys and updating you on exactly what's been going on with the development of the game since the 4th developer message. If you guys haven't seen that, I will put a card on this video that you can click to go watch that first. But just to sum things up, pretty much what happened in the 4th developer message was that I had just received my computer back from having a fatal error and blue screen crash, and I was in the process of recovering the Let's Live game files that I had from a backup on an external hard drive. Since then, there's been a lot of changes. So some of the things that I'm going to be talking about today is the updates, some additions, and some removals that I've done within the game, and then going into points of interest. I have been working a lot in developing not only the layouts, but trying to finalize the points of interest, doing the major ones first, and then doing the minor ones as the secondary. So I will be showing you some of the points of interest that I have been showcasing on the Twitter page, but showing you a little bit more in depth what each one of them is kind of going to be like, along with giving you just a full update of where the game fully stands as of right now after everything has happened with recovering the game files. So with that being said, let's start with some of the main things that I was talking about additionally, which is updates since the crash, things that I have not only added but have taken away from the game. And most of these things I'm talking about in just sheer appearance. Nothing more in terms of the mechanical. All of that stuff is still the same, but all of this stuff that has been updated is mainly performance and update visuals. So a lot of the things that have been changed is mainly foliage. I have done graphic updates on a lot of the foliage. The trees, compared to what they used to be, have a much more natural and higher quality appearance to them. The grass landscape, not only under the trees, but in open areas, will have a better textured type of grass that looks more realistic and not so much of like a clumpy mess as some of the images that you'll be able to see here. Another thing that has changed is the road layout within Let's Live. The Let's Live road layout has changed a tiny bit, and that's because when I recovered the update files, the roads were not in that backup. So I had to remake the roads, but I think that the roads have been remade for the better. You guys will be able to see a comparison of the overview of the map and what the roads used to look like. They're highlighted in green compared to now what these roads look like going into some of these major POIs that I've created and kind of circling the map. So there's been a lot of changes, mainly in the graphics, and I hope you guys like the changes. If not, please let me know what can be done to make the graphics of the foliage, mainly the trees and the grass and things of that nature, look more to what you are expecting out of this game. Otherwise, I personally like what's happened with these changes. It feels more realistic, and it makes me feel like this is more of a serious survival game, kind of like Just Survive was. The trees that were previous and the grass that I was using previous just did not give the feel like it belonged on the map. The new trees and the new grass and the new road layouts most definitely fit the map in a much more graphically pleasing way, in my opinion. So then that's a lot of the changes. A few other things that I've been able to do since I've fixed the map layout and I've put the point of interest there and I've fixed the trees and the grass and stuff is I've started working on resources. Now, the current resources that are available are wood and stone. I am in the process of programming the scrap metal resource, which will be available currently just by hitting metal vehicles. So you'll be able to go up to certain vehicles that you'll be able to specify from other ones that you can salvage metal parts from and get scrap metal from. Once I have that coding done, I will showcase a video on it. But for right now, the video footage that I have is using a pickaxe to harvest rock and using a standard axe to harvest wood. You can use them opposite if you want. However, you are going to create more of a usage damage to the item if you do that. So like if you use an axe for the rock, you're going to put more damage on the axe for doing so instead of using a pickaxe. Just like it would be if you were to do it in real life. If you hit an axe to stone, it would chip and dull the blade compared to using a pickaxe, which is designed for that. So those are a lot of the major updates that I've been working on. They're kind of small and insignificant, but in terms of the overall update and progression of the map and its appearance and how much better I think it visually looks, it is a huge step for the game as a whole. The next big thing that I want to talk to you guys about today is points of interest. Now, I have some sketches that I've been working on in my breaks while I've been at work, and I currently have 5 major points of interest. Not all of them are finished, but I do have some of them, and once I'm done with all of them, I will do a major walkthrough video where I will showcase each one, have the character kind of walk through and show where most of the buildings are and how the place is laid out. But for the time being, I do have some of them, and I have some of them blocked out in terms of what the road will look like and kind of how the buildings are going to be laid out within that area. So the first one that I do want to show you is Bellevue. Bellevue is going to be up in the northeast region of the map, kind of over in the location of Ranchito. For those of you guys that are familiar with the map of Just Survive, this is going to be a medium to large area where there's not only going to be a body of water that you can kind of collect a water resource from, but you're also going to be able to loot some warehouses and some other things like that. I plan to have a good variety of loot spawns in this place, and I think it's going to be a major area where people will plan to build bases around. The next place is going to be a major area located in the same vicinity as where Cranberry used to be, and its name is Rosewood. Now, Rosewood has a little bit of a backstory already. As you can tell, it's got the similar name as the Rose Friendly Wind Company. Rosewood is the company in which that windmill company is located, and there's going to be some warehouses there where you're going to be able to collect some major scrap material along with some other resources that you can use to build things and craft things. And this one is going to be not only a good major point of interest for you to possibly find vehicles and resources, but hopefully some good weapons as well. These are all things that I have in mind. You guys can obviously tell me if you think differently in the comment section down below, but I really think that this is going to be a good major point of interest, and these are pretty much all major points of interest in my mind. Obviously, as these points of interest get developed and I make them, maybe they will change between major and minor, but for the time being, in my mind, they're all major points of interest. The next one is the military barracks. Now, the military barracks is also part of the government villas. Now, the government villas is located where the governor's mansion used to be, in the northwest corner of the map. And then as you travel south down a dirt road from there, you're going to be able to come across the military barracks, and the military barracks is obviously going to be a major spot for people to find weaponry. Pretty much weaponry of any kind, whether it's explosive landmines, dynamite sticks, IEDs, you name it. This is going to be the place for you to go, especially if you're looking for ammunition. Not like that it's not going to be available across the map, but this is going to be a guaranteed spot for these items. I would like certain places to give you guaranteed loot and then other places to have randomized loot. I don't mean that the entire place will give you and guarantee you weapons, but if you go there, you're more than likely to find maybe an AR and a full clip of rounds and maybe a shotgun or two and a variety of pistols, so that there's a decent amount of ability for you to defend yourself if there's other people there. The last and final point of interest that I want to talk about and kind of wrap up the main part of this developer message is Prairie Village. Now, Prairie Village to me is the center spot, the major point of interest, the number one point of interest. Prairie Village is going to be the number one town within the map that kind of, I guess, oversees the rest of the towns, kind of like a county. And obviously you guys can understand why it is that way because of the abbreviation of PV. That's going to be my homage to the game Just Survive, as leaving the center most major point of interest have the same abbreviation as Pleasant Valley. So Prairie Village is going to have a major warehouse area / shopping area, along with a lot of houses and a playground. Pretty much you're going to be able to find a variety of things here. A large number of not only normal items but rare items, and maybe even some items that will help you find in-game skins. I've been talking with a lot of the community on the new Discord page, and I'll leave a link down below for anybody that wants to join the Discord. But I have been talking a lot, and there are people that would like there to be lore and some type of in-game objects and items that you could use to collect together and go on maybe small treasure hunts that would reward you with some type of in-game item that's either a usable item for a short amount of time or in-game skins that you could use to make yourself stand out. And I like that idea. I think that that's really cool. I think that that's a little bit different for people that may not want to PvP all the time and do want to understand the background of the game. Because just because it's a survival game does not mean it should not have some type of background story. So with that being said, that's going to be it for the main part of the developer message. I appreciate everybody's support so far. I hope you guys like where the game has progressed since the crash. I think that a lot of things have been upgraded and updated and improved. So I hope you guys feel the same. Let me know by liking the video and letting me know how you feel down in the comment section. I always like to hear your opinions and see your opinions. It really helps shape the future of this game. Moving forward, over the next few minutes, I asked on Twitter if you guys would like to have a little segment where you get to know the developer a little bit. And I'm not necessarily a person that would care to just openly share who I am if the community doesn't care, but it seems like you guys want to know a little bit about me, and I can appreciate that because, you know, I'm not just a drone behind a personality for the Twitter, for the YouTube. I am an actual person, and it's nice to see that you guys want to know a little bit about me. So, to make a long story short, my name is Alex. I'm 26 years old. I went to school in the Central Midwest, Chicago, and I actually have a bachelor's degree in industrial design. For those of you guys that don't know what industrial design may be, a more, I guess, commonly used phrase is product design. So pretty much any object under the sun, I would be employed to design maybe not only its appearance, but how the electronic parts within that item, if it has it, would fit. So perfect example is a controller, whether it's the Xbox controller or the PlayStation controller. There are designers that sat down not only with gamers and users, but themselves and studied different controllers. And from that, not only drew by hand, but would digitally render and build physical models to represent their drawings of what they would like their controller to be for either the PlayStation 4 or the Xbox. Now, a designer is something that can be at almost any company, but most companies nowadays like to contract that job out because sometimes they don't need a designer all the time and they only need a designer when it's necessary. So a lot of the work that I do is freelance or contracted if I do any of that work at all. So I've got some questions and I'm going to answer them from the Twitter where I said that I was going to be recording this, and if anybody had any questions they could respond to it and I would try to answer them. So starting off with Robert Wagner, he's asking about tampers, decks, and or foundations or something completely different. In a PvE environment, can bases be truly secured? Will there be animal traps, crops, fabricated water resources? Okay, so to answer all of these questions, I plan on there being either a deck or a foundation. I'm not a big fan of the tamper, mainly because it was hard for vehicles. If you wanted to put a vehicle in your base, it was kind of difficult to drive it up over the tamper bump that was there. And so I think I'm going to do ramped decks or foundations that also kind of prevent people from boosting up over walls. That's kind of the plan that I have. I'm currently in the middle of modeling some of these things for base building, so those should be something that'll be coming up in the few weeks ahead. Now, to answer your question about PvE environments, can bases be truly secured? In PvE, I do not plan for there to be any type of base raiding, because if you're PvEing, you're not going to be going after other people's stuff. You're going to be going after stuff within the game environment. So I do not plan for the bases on PvE servers to be able to take damage, and neither should they be able to be like manipulated for people to access them. So yes, to answer your question shortly, I plan for them to be truly secured, and only people who have your passcode should be able to get it in and out. Will there be animal traps, crops, fabricated resources? There are going to be water tarps, or the tarp situation where you could collect water within your base. You don't just have to go to like a riverbed or a lake or something along those lines to collect water. You will be able to craft your own item to collect that resource for you. Moving on, Sarcasmic asks, when did you first decide you wanted to develop a game? Well, to be honest, I saw the stuff in Unreal Engine that it was free and available to me, and after I had, done my own experiments and, messed within the engine a little bit and got used to the mechanics, I saw how many people were tweeting at H1Z1 to bring back Just Survive. I had decided that I would put out a poll to see if the community would be supporting in something of that. And if it got a 75-25 split in the yes direction that they wanted me to try and do that I would try and do it. Now, if I'm not mistaken, it was like a 91-9 or an 88% to 9 or 88% to 11% vote. So that was kind of the start. It's been community driven since the start. The community wanted somebody to try it, and since I haven't had to put too much of my own finances into it, it hasn't been a burden on me because this is something I've kind of wanted to do since I've been in college. Ice Insanity asks, don't know if I've asked yet, are you planning on adding base building as JS had into the game, or will it be the less fun option to fortify existing structures? To answer that question, it's going to be base building. The buildings that I have are not going to be something for fortifying. They're just going to be buildings within points of interest for you to loot within. And if you get into battles there, you get into battles there. There's not going to be fortification of existing structures. There's going to be base building, and Voldy responded to Iced Insanity saying, I hope it's snap-on building, like Just Survive. Basically have all kinds of prefab components you can craft and snap onto each other. And that's pretty much what I'm planning on too. The goal is to have snap together features, so you'll be able to craft wall pieces, doorways, gates, things of that nature, and then snap them to a grid fit foundation pretty much. You also will be able to create the individual shacks on top of that if you want to, as a full structure that can be snapped to your foundation on top of that. But these are all really good questions. I appreciate you guys asking them. These are all obviously plans for the future. Like I said, the main goal for the game is to be mechanically as close to Just Survive as possible. And then obviously it will have its own appearance and its own, look for it to have its own no copyright issues. So I appreciate everybody being here. I appreciate you guys learning a little bit about me. And with that being said, I'm going to continue developing this game. If you're not following the Twitter page, make sure you do so. If you want to, you can join the Discord and be part of the community where you guys help input ideas for the game, not only for how the game will turn out in appearance and play style, but even the background story. With that being said, though, thanks again for all of the support. You guys have been awesome. We broke 50 subscribers here on the YouTube channel, over 200 followers over on Twitter, and it just seems to keep growing. So do your best to keep letting people know about Let's Live, and let's keep on living, guys. Thanks again, and I will see you in the next video.